in LA. I actually spent 20 years there in a 10-year period. And I like LA, but I moved back here because of this weather. Like in LA, like I got sick of not knowing what time of year it was when I moved the house. And I like LA, but it's like it's all full of these people who are so superficial and so shallow and so unaware and so stupid and so much happier than me. And I'd be like, aren't you angry about the economy, man? Don't you care about AIG? Bro, I don't listen to hip hop. Fuck you! The Tao, she thought I was Buddhist. I said, no! And I drive back cross country, right? Drive back cross country with a live cat in the car, moving back with the cat in the car. I can tell you, I can now driving through Utah with a cat with violent diarrhea off my bucket list. Right? Have you ever driven in a car through Utah and your cat has violent diarrhea in the car? And you're not ready for it, and you go to Google on your iPhone to try to find out what to do, but you realize that you can't Google what to do when your cat has diarrhea in the car, because diarrhea is so disgusting, none of us have ever learned how to properly spell it! So all you can do with the iPhone is gently scrape it off the windows and make a donation to Mitt Romney's hometown. We'll get to Mittens, don't worry. By the way, I love Mitt Romney. If I could be that stiff, I'd do gay porn. Oh, that's as good as it's... Oh, did I offend the Mormons at the Inspired One? So I'm very pleased to be here. I was in Arizona last week. I just came back from Arizona. I was in Tucson. It's 113 there, but it's a dry hate. And it's... I mean, it's like, you know what I do whenever I'm in Arizona? First thing I do, I find an Indian and I ask how he feels about all these illegals. It's always funny. You know, Jesus came to see Governor Jan Brewer, but he was brown and didn't speak English and had no papers, so he shipped his ass to Juarez. And I love Governor Jan Brewer, by the way. She's made her bed, but she can't lie in it because her friends need the white sheets. Did I offend the pro-racist lobby? And then I don't even know where I am anymore. I'm on the road with this Fakakta tour, and then I was just going to Florida, and I like to go to Florida because I live in Manhattan, so I go to Florida and hear New York accents. That's really nice. Of course, Florida and Arizona have a big thing in common. People move there for the climate and then stay indoors with AC all day to avoid the climate. So, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm on a political comedy tour right now, and so it's great to come someplace where I can be among really sane people. And just, you know, be shown up by how brilliant Nathan and Carolina and all the artists in Gemini are. It's really, I'm very humbled to be here. So I was, all right, here's the thing. I was watching Fox News, because I'm a thinker. And, do we have any Republicans? I won't be mean. Do we have any Republicans in the House? I won't be mean. I won't be mean, you cowardly pieces of shit. Are you here? I love Republicans, just not who they vote for, okay? Because every liberal in the world has a conservative that they love and respect and honor, and every conservative has a liberal they pretend to tolerate in their lives. But I love Fox News. Fox News is really a mecca for people who hate Mecca, you know? Or can't spell Mecca, if you will. And actually, I got the satellite dish so I can see Bill O'Reilly in the original German. It's great. So I like Fox News because I like to hear how brilliant Michelle Bachmann is, who's running for president. You guys know who Michelle Bachmann is? Yeah, she's great. She's like a female Ann Coulter. She's great. This woman is going to win the Iowa caucus, okay? This woman, first off, I miss George Bush as a comedian, let me just say. I would vote for him tomorrow if he ran. I apologize for all the bad things I said. Having a non-buffoon in the White House for the first time in my life has been very difficult as a political comedian. I mean, I miss George. How do you not miss George Bush? Folks, here, come on, man. Every time he opened his mouth when they allowed the leader of the free world to speak off the cuff. It was like, when Bush would speak, it was like jazz, you know? It was like Dr. Seuss on Tainted Death every time. It was beautiful, and we took it for granted and scorned the man, and now he's gone, and the other guy is smarter than us, and it sucks. Bush, I know how hard it is to put food on your family. Where's he get this shit? memorize lines. You know, when Bush did his little speeches, anybody can memorize lines, brothers and sisters. Keanu Reeves can memorize lines. Morpheus, I know Kung Fu. He actually played Hamlet. Did you know this? In a stage production in Ontario, Canada. Keanu Reeves, my generation's Olivier. He played Hamlet, and I flew to Canada to see the production just for the one scene in Act 3 where Hamlet has the line, "How dost thou, Rosencrantz?" Ah, Guildenstern, my most excellent friend. All right, so Michelle Bachmann. So I miss Bush, but then I see Michelle Bachmann, and I think I can get behind this. I think America is ready for another president who thinks Rwanda was JJ's sister on Good Times. Am I offending Minnesota Republicans in the room? I mean, and as far as Michelle Bachmann, look, I love her. I love her gay husband. I think it's great. I think it's great that she's a homophobe married to a gay homophobe. He said gay men were barbarians, but he didn't mean it as an insult. I mean, this guy is ex-gay therapy. Can you imagine Marcus Bachmann doing ex-gay? I'm gonna suck the gay out of you. Come on to me. Come on to me. Come on to me. He's clean shaven and has a beard at the same time, my friends. And you know what? And as far as Michelle Bachmann goes, I got nothing against Botox, but I'm sorry, Michelle Bachmann, you can't be the face of a movement when your face has no movement. So I watch Fox News because only Fox News, my friends, and only Fox News teaches me that Barack Obama is responsible for the current unemployment and recession, and that George W. Bush got bin Laden. Now, let me break this down because I find it fascinating logic. They said George Bush deserves the credit for getting bin Laden, and I believe he does if by getting bin Laden, you mean allowing him to escape Tora Bora, forgetting about him and invading the wrong country. He got the fuck out of here. I mean, can you imagine, like, every night for a month, Joe Biden was calling the Bush Ranch, just going, "Mission accomplished now, bitch!" He's calling up Dick Cheney, "We just drank your milkshake!" And meanwhile in hell, Osama bin Laden is like, "Wait, you mean it's not 72 virgins, it's 72 bikers and I'm the virgin?" If they really want to get Osama bin Laden in hell, they should really fuck with him and make his cellmate in hell Bernie Madoff. Because Bernie's Jewish, and right now Bernie Madoff's in a prison somewhere in upstate New York saying to his cellmate, "No, you don't understand. If you give me your pudding, I can turn around and make that more pudding for you. That's how it works. Give me a pudding." And he's cigarettes. I'll get more for you next week. You'll see. Okay, so then they want to blame Obama for this economy, which to me is like blaming your hangover on the guy making breakfast, all right? I love my Republican friends, but if your captain hit the iceberg, you don't get to blame the rescue boat. And that's what this is, all right? It takes a lot longer than 2 years to clean up 8 years of elephant shit. And that's what we're looking at. But do we like Obama still? How do we feel about it? And listen, if there's anyone here who's a liberal or a progressive or a socialist or whatever, you're angry about Obama, and I get it. I understand all the complaints about Obama. I know that many people are frustrated with Obama. I know that you feel like, "Hey man, I voted an FDR, you set up a Clinton, what the fuck," you know? And I understand the complaints. Yes, he caved on Gitmo, he caved on tax cuts for millionaires, he caved in the public option, the guy's caved so many times, there are minors trapped inside of him, I get it. But what does he do? Every time you're losing faith with Barack Obama, every time you think, "I'm done with this guy," what does the man do? He comes out, he gives another speech, and all America's like, "God damn, Urkel grew up all right." Because look, who was the most popular Democrat we had for such a long time? We lost faith in the whole party. Who was the one Democrat people still liked? Bill Clinton. Right? One meeting, Bill Clinton. And why did they like Bill Clinton? Because he went over to North Korea last year and got those 2 Asian American female journalists rescued from Pyongyang prison. And I thought, my God, only Bill Clinton could have the entire world cheering because he brought home 2 Asian chicks. You have to imagine that plane flight back from Korea for those poor people. Why don't y'all come sit over here? I like Hillary Clinton. I think she's the best hope for world peace. I believe that all the troops would come out. She could bring them all. Every general of every army would listen if that woman said, "Pull out now." But here's the thing, I don't hate Republicans at all, okay? The only thing I hate about Republicans is they keep forcing me to vote for these fucking Democrats. That's what I don't like. But the Republican Party we have now is pretty sad. Mitch McConnell, okay? Mitch McConnell runs them in the Senate. Mitch McConnell, this chinless monstrosity, Yertle the Turtle. This guy looks like if Darth Vader and Elmer Fudd fucked. He's very quiet. I'm obstructing president. Dan Quayle's son gets to be a congressman. Dan Quayle's son, Ben. You see his campaign commercial he did last year? He came out and actually did this commercial. It was like, Barack Obama is the worst president in American history. And I'm like, well, the douche doesn't fall far from the bag. Because here's the thing, these Republicans are not the same Republicans we knew growing up, all right, brothers and sisters? Let me break this down for you, okay? When we were kids, there were three basic types of Republicans. We knew them, we loved them, they voted for douchebags, but they were sweet. First off, you had the conservative Christians, the people who worship Jesus as a god, because that's a lot easier than following his teachings. I voted for Jesus, brothers and sisters. I did in 2008, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I thought, wouldn't the Republican Party love to vote for Jesus? Wouldn't the Republican Party, as we know it, love to vote for a guy who was a peaceful, radical, nonviolent revolutionary, spent his leisure time with hookers, lepers, and crooks, a man who never spoke English, was not an American citizen, was anti-capitalism, anti-wealth, anti-death penalty 100%, anti-public prayer, yes he was, Matthew 6:5, motherfucker, anti-public prayer, once anti-gay, didn't mention abortion, didn't mention premarital sex, and was a long-haired, brown-skinned, it's in Revelations, brown-skinned, homeless Middle Eastern Jew. The president of this country. If Jesus came to this country, he couldn't get hired House of Pancakes. No, 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 Jesus. No, no, no. They got no room at the IHOP. No, we don't hire illegals. I don't care who your father is. You come back again, you wear shoes. Okay, so the second kind of Republican we all grew up knowing and loving, the Reaganomics guys, the supply side assholes, the people who worship the golden calf and cause this present economy we're all enjoying so much. These are the people, my friends, who actually want to put Ronald Reagan on the $50 bill. Have you heard about this? There's a movement going. They want to remove Ulysses Grant, hero of the War of Northern Aggression, and replace him with Ronald Reagan. And I'll tell you what a better idea, seriously. Put Reagan's face above Grant's, and then wait a few years for him to gradually trickle down. And finally, our favorite kind of Republican we all knew growing up, white guys who really like Tom Clancy books. But now there's a whole new breed of Republican, my friends, and it's a whole new kind. It's not like what we grew up with, and they're angrier, and they're louder, and they're dumber, and they're meaner. I call them the Literati. Now, these are the people destroying the party of Lincoln, and it's a little bit fun to watch this week on the news. First off, you have the birthers, okay? The people who refuse to believe Barack Obama is an American citizen and owns a time machine with which he placed an announcement in a Hawaii newspaper in 1961. 3 weeks ago, there was a poll of Iowa Republicans. 56% do not believe Barack Obama was born in this country. After the birth certificate came out, they still don't believe it, proving the greatest threat to our freedom comes not from foreign terrorists, but domestic douchebags. Second group we have is the deathers, the death panel people, the anti-healthcare people, okay? These are the ones who were drawing the Hitler mustaches on Obama at all those rallies last year. Somewhere in hell, my friends, Hitler is furious at these guys for drawing his mustache on a black dude. But Hitler will tell them when he sees them. And these are the guys who go out saying Obamacare. Obamacare. We're used to hearing this. Even the major media calls the Affordable Care Act Obamacare. They want to bring back pre-existing conditions so badly for sick people. Obamacare. You know what? I have no problem with calling the Affordable Care Act Obamacare, my friends, as long as you call Social Security FDR care, Medicare LBJ care, and tax cuts for rich fucks who don't need it, W care. Go right ahead. But my favorite kind of new Republican is, without a doubt, the teabaggers. Now, you guys, you're a sophisticated New York audience. You all know what teabagging is slang for, right? You know? Because my dad didn't. You know what teabagging is slang for? For those who don't know, teabagging refers to a disgusting, unholy, despicable sexual activity engaged in by gay men with gay men, or by straight men with amazing, wonderful, spectacular women. Just letting you know, ladies. It could save a marriage, I'm just telling you. But my dad died a few months ago, and when he was really sick, he did what a lot of people do for fun. He sat in the chair and screamed at Fox News all day. And so I would call him every day, and I'd say, "Hey, Pop, how are you?" And he'd say, "Oh, you know, I'm here watching these teabaggers," because my dad was already fired, Harvey Keitel. He'd say, "I'm here watching these teabaggers." And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, are they angry?" "Angry? Teabaggers get testy." "What are they angry about, Pop?" "Oh, they're angry about Obama's stimulus plan." "Well, what do you mean?" "Well, apparently these people want to teabag Obama because his package was too big." "Well, they're really at it, huh?" "Oh, they're not giving up. Teabaggers don't joke." But I'll tell you something, I think it's a lot of falderall. This is all your Rush Limbaughs and your Glenn Becks getting these people riled up to vote against their own interests. "What do you mean, Pop?" "Well, when these people go teabagging, it's a couple of big mouths controlling all the nuts." I said, "Dad, that's a little hard to swallow." That's my ball-sucking material for the morning. Oh, it's been fun watching this thing fall apart this week, my God. It's like, I don't even understand this guy. I mean, I do, but I don't, and you have to love him, you know, you have to love these people. They just took the N-word out of Huckleberry Finn. I mean, that's what has happened now. They are taking they've taken every reference to the N-word out of, I can say the N-word, right? That's okay for, they're taking every reference to the N-word out of Huckleberry Finn. So now, Jim is beaten and shackled and kept as human property, but no one calls him any bad words. This is what our kids are going to learn about slavery. And they've taken out every reference of the N-word and replaced it with the word slave. And I'm like, slave, what? A slave, please. And you know, it may seem very benign right now, but I'm telling you, if this doesn't go unchecked, if we don't stop them from molesting Mark Twain's work, this was there to show the brutality, not to soften it up to make it nicer for little kids' consumption. And mark my words, in 100 years, they're going to do it to every hip-hop record you like right now. They're going to do the same. I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with the broke slave. They're going to do it. If you feeling like a pimp slave, come on, brush your shoulders up. All these slaves and all these women with a Y, someone here go, fuck! I mean, they're going to do it to everything. And speaking of racist douchebags, Dr. Laura, here's the thing. Yeah, I want to talk about this for a second because I take this very seriously. Dr. Laura lost her radio show because she, a wealthy white woman, said the N-word 11 times in 5 minutes. 11 times in 5 minutes, and then played victim. You have the free speech. You can say whatever you want in this country. You just get to live with the consequences. And millionaire white woman said the N-word 11 times in 5 minutes. The best thing about it was the people who ran to her defense, like Elizabeth Hasselbeck on The View. All these outraged, conservative, millionaire Caucasians who were so angry, so enraged, that there's one word they're not allowed to say. I love seeing this. Hasselbeck went on The View saying, well, I don't see why Dr. Laura can't say that word. I mean, why can black people say that word and white people can't say that word? My children listen to the hip-hop records and they say, Mommy, Mommy, the rappers say this word, why can't we say this word? What do I tell my children? Shut the fuck up, Hasselbeck! You ever notice that? Conservative white, not all white people, but some white people, they are so furious, there's one word they're not allowed to say. Look at the history of this country. 400 years of what? White folks telling black folks what they can't do. You can't keep your language, you can't keep your religion, you can't be free, you can't marry who you want, you can't keep your own family together, you can't go off the plantation. Okay, you're free, but you can't vote. Okay, you can vote, but you can't sit in this seat, and you can't drink out of this fountain, can't use that bathroom, can't ride on this bus. In 400 years, black folks have asked white people not to do one thing. Don't say this one word. All they ever ask white people not to do. It's so easy to not say that word, white people. I say it 6-7 times a week tops. It's so easy to the black folks have that word, say it all they want. We're not in the club, fine. We took rock and roll and fucked it up. They can have it back. Victim Caucasians, Jesus. Come on. So I'm watching Fox again, because I'm deep, right? I'm watching Fox. And I see this commercial for the drug war. Perhaps you've seen it. They're still airing this one. It's the one that says, if you buy drugs, even pot, your money will go to fund terrorists. I was like, oh, brothers and sisters, this was an eye-opener for me. Because I didn't know this. Remember we were kids, they didn't tell us this kind of shit when we were kids about pot. Remember we were kids, all the propaganda they would tell you about all the terrible things pot's gonna do to your brain. I can't recall any of it right now, but... What did they tell us as kids? They told us two things. They said pot makes you violent and lazy. Making violent people lazy is the only crime prevention plan that works. I'm gonna fuck you up, man, right after this burrito. And this is why children don't take the drug war seriously. Children think it's a joke. Why? Because we keep telling kids, drugs are bad, drugs are bad, drugs are bad, drugs are bad. That is not the problem, brothers and sisters. The problem is not that drugs are bad. The problem is drugs are great. Addiction is bad. Overdosing is bad. Making stupid choices when you're high is bad. All you potheads who paid to see Thor know what I'm talking about. You could be addicted to any. You could be addicted to right-wing hate radio, to reality TV shows, to high fructose corn syrup, to sport. My parents went to church 7 days a week. They hate the Pope. They're Catholics. I saw Janet Jackson on the Oprah show. You know what her drug of choice is? What her mood-altering substance is? Coffee enemas. Yes! Janet told Oprah that that's what she does to get rid of her body's sad cells. That's her mood-altering substance, coffee enemas. So I tried this. One piece of advice, if you're going to have a coffee enema, friends, don't use hot coffee. It really hurts, and it pisses off the people who work at Starbucks. Here's the thing, cannabis has been in this country a lot longer than Caucasians, all right? And in the colonial days, it was used as a painkiller. You know, and Washington grew it, Jefferson grew it, Ben Franklin started our first colonial printing press using hemp paper. I'm not saying Ben smoked any. I'm sure lots of perfectly sober men fly kites during thunderstorms all the time. Imagine that night. They're all sitting around and soaking wet Ben Franklin waddles in like a penguin. Guys, guess what? I bought this electricity. We're going to give it to the colonists for free. And in the back, John Adams is like, no, we'll make them pay for it. Washington grew it, Jefferson grew it. Nowadays, those guys would be locked up if we ever locked up rich white guys for pot. I mean, it was as American as apple pie, and they all knew if you smoked the top part of the plant, you'd want to eat a lot of apple pie. And now, when it was made illegal in the 1930s, the American Medical Association went on the record protesting because they knew cannabis was a painkiller. So if you support legalized pot, you have the conservative point of view. And that's why now the government's telling us, if you buy pot, your money goes to fund terror. Clearly, the message they're telling us, grow your own. And I respect it. I totally get what you're saying, man. I get it. I'm going to be hydroponic. Do you ever wish you could go back and find the first person you ever had sex with? Yeah. Find the first person you ever had sex with, and do it again, so they can see how good you are now? I would love to, but honestly, I don't even know what parish he preaches at. Oh, I'm sorry, okay, so the priest can rape the boys and the Pope covers it up and I make a joke that I'm the asshole. That, wrap it up time then? Okay, cool, well I'll be quick then. Here's the thing about this, okay? I come from a very Catholic family, an extremely, extremely Catholic family. We used to have open casket reunions. My father was a Franciscan Brother. He taught history to Catholic boys at St. Francis Prep in Brooklyn. He wore the brown robes and the rope belt and walked amongst the people like the lost Jedi Knight of Flatbush. My mother is an ex-Nun. Whoa. And my father met her when he was a patient at Holy Family Hospital in Brooklyn with tuberculosis. She took care of him. He had promised God he would never feel love for anyone. And he broke his vow, but he kept it a secret for 10 years. She went off to Africa as a nurse to work with lepers in Malawi. He carried a torch for all that time. She finally came back to the States. He told her he loved her. In her habit, she threw him out of the hospital for breaking their vows. But eventually, she relented, kicked the habit. They got married. And I do stand-up because I can never afford the therapy I need. So I grew up admiring Jesus the way anybody admires mom's first husband. But I must confess, and I mean no disrespect to the faithful, I have come to view Jesus in much the way I have come to view Elvis. I love the guy, but a lot of his fan clubs scare me. And I get down when I see my Christian brothers and sisters leading the fight for homophobia. Because every animal on earth has homosexuality, but only humans invented hating people for it. And whereas being gay is natural, hating gay is a lifestyle choice. And, you know, I grew up on Long Island in a very, very, heart of the Guido Belt, okay? I grew up in a very homophobic community. Where I grew up, it was like, if you like boys more than girls, you're gay. If you'd rather hang out with girls as friends, you're gay. And if you're not gay but have no problem with that guy who is gay, you're gay. And then my heart opened and I moved to New York and I changed and I realized that I had friends who were gay and I didn't know when I was guilty of being a dick. And now I live in Greenwich Village, I go to gay bars, that's where all the cool women are. I hang out with gay friends all the time. I'm a straight guy who loves gay guys, I'm a fag stag. If you let a man marry a man, 2 more chicks for you to strike out with. You let a man marry a man, next you're going to see a man marry an animal. Well, at least those men won't be reproducing. No, God said Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Actually, Reverend, God made Adam and Steve too, and they can adopt some of them old accidents Adam and Eve don't fucking want. Oh. Because where do they get the hate from? How do they justify the homophobia? Jesus never said a single gay thing. Never. Jesus talked about monster trucks as much as he talked about being gay. St. Paul was talking about idolatry. Deuteronomy is about male prostitution. Sodom and Gomorrah is actually a story about public gang rape of angels in the street. It is, look it up, funny shit. These folks hang all their hate on one line from the book of Leviticus, where God says, "Ye shall not lie with a man as with a woman, that is an abomination." It said, "shall not lie with." It said nothing about one guy on all fours, one guy leaning against the bedroom stall while the Republicans send their place. Look out, just says, "shall not lie with." So fine, if you want to hang all your hate on one line of Leviticus, God bless, go ahead, hate all you want, but you better follow every fucking law of Leviticus, and that means that you don't have to hate gay men. You have to stone them to death when you see them in the street. And I don't think the homophobes have noticed, the gay guys have been working out, they're ready. You guys see the 300? I mean, there were some serious gay guys. Oh, that movie was so gay I came out to my parents. My God. And if you still want to believe that one part of the Bible that says being gay is a sin, that one line of Leviticus that justifies all that hate, then you've also got to follow the other laws, which include you have to stone to death children who are gluttons or drunks. Bye-bye Bush twins. You have to stone to death anyone who cuts their hair at the temples or tattoos the flesh, and I'm going to miss the Marine Corps and half the bands I like. You have to stone to death anybody who works on the Sabbath, and that's Saturday, so fuck you NASCAR and Post Office. You have to stone to death adulterers, and according to the Old Testament, that includes divorce and remarriage. So what this means, my Judeo-Christian homophobic friends, if you really believe the part of the Bible that says being gay is a sin, then you owe it to God to kill Rush Limbaugh 3 times. Which you really should not do. One final note there, the Bible does prohibit men with men in that one little line, but at no point in the entire Bible does God ever forbid women with women. Yeah! I find it just a bit suspect that God and Vivid Video have the same policy. And now I must leave you, and I thank you for your lovely attention and time and paying attention to my ranting. So I do an off-Broadway show called Laughing Liberally all summer. I also do a show at the Tank called The Fix, where I mix comedians with hip-hop, poetry, and spoken word, and storytelling. Eve has performed there, and Elaine Boozler is a regular. We had a sword swallower at our last show. I'm trying to get Nathan to come, so I invite any performers here to hit me up, and I'd love to put you. I believe in mixing different kinds of performance styles and putting stand-up on the same creative level as spoken word, and spoken word on the same creative commercial level as stand-up. So I hope you'll come down.
And I'll share the link on my page.
And Mike will share the. Yeah, do you guys know Mike's on Facebook? Anybody know that? Do you guys know Mike's